Oh, it was a long time ago. We were fishing saltwater bass anglers tournament, SWBA. It was an offshore challenge, January, first week of January, I believe. And that was a 2-day tournament. Starts from Catalina Island, and then you can run to any island and, catch your 5 biggest calico bass. And that year I fished with Larry Passad. Larry, great fisherman. I mean, he's like call him just like he's a badass. Like, just Boy Scout, freaking,
He's fucking gnarly.
He's pretty gnarly, bodybuilder, just buff, mean dude,
Yeah.
And so that year, I don't know, either he asked me or I asked him. He's like, "Hey, do you have somebody to fish with?" And I go, I don't think my old partner wants to do this one, or I'd be game, And he's like, "Let's do it." So we decided to do it. Long story short, we take off, and he goes, "Where do you want to start?" Because you don't really need a pre-fish. It's the island. The island's the island,
Clemente?
Yeah, we went straight to Clemente and started off on the front side. Started off at Seal Rock and caught a fish right off the gate. And then we just started working that beach. And we were sitting in low tide there. And it was starting to hike up a little bit. And we were super tight. And that little area at Northwest Harbor can get big, real big. And so it was building. I kept looking behind me, and he's like, "Don't worry, I got it. Don't worry, I got it." And then, let me back up a little bit. So right before that little stretch started biting. And then I was given a owner beast hook, and it was weighted. It weighed about an ounce and a quarter.
Special.
Well, it's just weighted. No, they don't. Somebody just made it for me. They weighted it and just slow rolling like big weedless baits. And we're getting some pretty good ones. We had about 4.5 pounders, quick, quick, 10, 15 minutes. So we had cold balls on them and everything. And then all I heard was, "Hang on." And when I turned around, I was like, "Oh my God, I just seen the biggest wave ever." And no, I'm Mexican. Doggy paddle.
I was gonna say Mexican, but I was gonna wait for I'm Mexican.
So
I'm from East LA.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just heard "hang on," and this thing was just huge. Was
it barreling?
It was barreling.
No way.
I was like, "It's too late already." It barreled. I'm like, "Oh my God!" I just looked down. Like, "Well, I'm gonna die." So he just guns it, and then we're just basically riding the wave in an angle, and we're just charging to the worst part, towards the point where it breaks even worse, We're just trying to hop it, but when we're riding down that wave, we just kind of barrel down, and the boat just kind of flips. And then I was on the bow just hanging on, and then so when it just pearled and stuff, I was like, "Holy crap, that thing's going to land on my head." I'm thinking in the movies, holy shit, this is going to land on me and kill me. So I don't know why, but I'm underwater. It felt like I was 10 feet deep or something, but I'm pretty sure it was just a foot. And I'm just holding my head, "Holy shit, it's going to follow me." I'm going to do something with my hands.
You're gonna save yourself.
Yeah. So, and then it just got real quiet, super quiet. And I'm in the water, just kind of floating in the water. And it's
real. You don't know which way's up or down.
No. I kind of know it's up. And I could hear Larry yelling my name, but I'm underwater. And that's why I felt like I was 10 feet deep or something, and I'm just floating. I'm like, "Oh, shit, I'm still alive." I did this. I'm like, "Shit, I'm still alive." And then my next thing is, I don't know how to swim. And then second, my life vest, I bought it on stupid eBay used. So it's one of those ones that you pull the cord and I'm like, "Shit, I hope this thing works." So I pulled the cord, it inflates, and I shot up like the fucking Rocketeer, like a superhero shit. So I come out of the water. I'm like, I just drank a bunch of water. I was like, "Holy shit." And then seconds later, I hear an explosion. I go, "Holy fuck, the boat blew up," just like the movies,
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
So the offshore challenge is 2 days. So guys back then, we were
Did the boat really blow up?
Yeah, I'm getting there. So
damn, dog, hey,
sorry, dude, I'm so excited. I'm fucking.
So the offshore challenge, back then, all the guys and stuff. Well, I'm not gonna say all the guys, but a lot of the guys. We had junkier boats and stuff like that. We're all carrying extra jugs of jerry cans of fuel and stuff because it's 2 days. You're running to the islands and stuff, and everybody's carrying extra fuel. So we had an extra fuel tank. So I guess when the boat flipped, that pressure and stuff of the tank, it blew up.
No way. I didn't know this.
Yeah, it blew up. And so then the boat, catches on fire for a little bit. So I'm like, oh, crap. Like, this is pretty bad. And then after that, I was just like, we're floating out there. And then, like, Larry swims over to me. He's like, dude, thank God you're alive, this and that. All right. So right away, he took charge right away because I'm just, like, in shock. I'm like, holy crap. The water exactly was 50 degrees. I remember that because the water's freezing cold that year. And it was huge swell that year. I mean, there was yachts at Clemente, like sending their surfers to like do their video shoots.
Quicksilver boats there.
Yeah,
No way.
Yeah,
that's how.
It was A-framing and everything.
And I don't want to tell you how big because it was huge. I don't know 20. I don't know 10s. I don't know. It was monster. It was big. And so these guys are riding these big ass waves and shit. And then I'm like, holy crap, how are we gonna get to shore? And he's like, don't worry, I got this, and this and that.
Bro, side note, if there's anybody you ever want to be in the water,
yeah, it's definitely
got this.
Yeah. He goes, so I'm floating out there, and I'm like, holy shit, that's really far, to swim, and we're getting sucked out because it was outgoing. Sorry.
Moving in and moving out like that.
No, it was just straight moving out. So we started seeing our shit like literally start floating offshore. And I'm like, holy crap. So I would doggy paddle, /swim, backstroke, whatever, close. Yeah. And I'd rest a little bit, and then I get pushed right back out. I'm like, shit, I'm never going to get there. And then good thing is, I'm like, Larry, should I take my boots off? He goes, no, you're going to need them when we get to shore. Like, he already had it, like, planned in his head. He's like, dude, you're going to cut your feet up, and when you hit the rocks, like, no, dude, you're going to need them. Don't do that. Don't do that. And I'm like, okay. And then, like, his wife packed him a lunch, and the stupid Tupperware floats out. He's like, yeah. Fuck. I'm like, what?
You're going to need food.
He goes, yeah. He goes, dude, we got food, and then I'm going to use the lid, and I'm going to help you, and I'm going to paddle. And he grabs you by the back, and he starts paddling with one freaking arm, and he's, like, paddling away. And I'm like, I can't go out like that. Let me just try to doggy paddle myself, And then, so he's like, yeah. He's like, oh, and then he's like, oh, we're going to need this. And then he grabs, like, the toolbox, the little tool thing, and it had flare guns and
the little orange thing.
Yeah, the little orange one.
Yeah.
So he had that. He's like, "Oh, we're gonna need this." So he was already like thinking ahead. I'm just thinking, I'm just glad to be alive. I just need to get there, and I'll figure it out from there. So I don't know. I'm thinking we were in the water 40 minutes or so, and it's hyperthermia I think is kicking in because I'm freezing, but I'm more like paranoid than ever. No, I wasn't worried about it. I was, dude, looking at those waves. I'm like, and then he tells me, he's like, dude, we're going to go real slow. And I just want to just hurry up and doggy paddle as fast as I can. And he's like, no, dude, when we get in the shoreline, that's when you're going to need all your energy. Because that thing's going to just ragdoll us when we get close. Because the waves are just literally, they're huge. So we start getting closer and closer. And he's like, all right, dude, you're on your own. Here we go. And then we just, we got picked up by this wave, and it just, freaking threw us up in the air. And then when it dropped me, well, I can't speak for Larry because I couldn't see what was going on. But he definitely got to shore quicker than I did. So it just ragdolled me. It would suck me back in and then pick me up and then throw me. So after the third time that happened, I was like, I think I'm just going to pull this life jacket and just take myself out because I can't do another one. Because I'm, sucking up. Water, rolling in the sand. It just literally ragdolls you, sucks you back up, and throws you up in the air again.
Like getting wiped out on a shore break, over and over.
Yeah, and over. You can only take so much. So after the third one, I almost just pulled my life jacket and just, dude, I'm done. And then I thought about my kids. I was like, shit, I can't give up just yet. Yeah. So one of those, it picked, I think the fourth time, I believe it was fourth, picked me up and just threw me so far back, forward. And I was like, oh shit. And I was like, and it's like quicksand, when you're in the sand, on the beach and you just stuck and you just can't move when the water's stuck. And I was like, and then another one came behind me and just finished me off and threw me up on land. And I was like, holy crap. And then Larry's there and he's already looking around. I can't even process the whole thing that whatever just happened. And he's like, all right, he's getting like dried kelp and making like a teepee to, and you know, he gets a flare gun and shoots it right to the thing and starts a big fire. He goes, they're gonna find us now. He goes, we only got 2 more left. So he's doing all this stuff. He goes, I'll be right back, and takes his shirt off and stuff, and he runs up.
He's fucking swole.
Yeah, he's swollen. He runs up. So they have, where the military trains, they have this big old building and stuff. It's empty and stuff. And he's like, I could see him just like standing up over everything, like looking around. Yep, there's nobody. He runs back down. I'm like, this guy, you know? And so he comes back down. He goes, yeah, I don't see anybody here. And then we see one boat fishing, you know, that Seal Rock proper. And then I think it was Lee Nichols and Ed Smith. We shoot one like almost like he did towards them. So they thought it was the military telling them to go away, you know, because he goes, hey, get your life jacket, you know, and you know.
They were like, okay, it's the military.
Yeah. So they seen the fire and the smoke and shit. So they're thinking, yeah, they're blowing shit up, you know, telling us to go away. And after, you know,
I would think the same thing.
you know,
Yeah, right.
so they
we're outta here.
they took off, and then so now we're just stranded there. And then he was already like I said, he was processing everything. He said, you know what? Eventually, the guys that didn't do good, they're probably gonna circle back here at the end of the day. So we got to make sure we're here. Like we'll walk all the way to the Seal Rock, like right there, because it's a good spot to fish. And
And it's the last ditch spot.
yeah, you know, might bail you out, you know, and that was the plan. But it was 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7, and mind you, it's freaking freezing. It's 50. The water's surface temp 50. January.
What time of day did you go in the water?
It's
Right
like
away, no?
like 7.
Yeah.
Oh, so it was first thing.
Oh, first thing, yeah. It was 30 minutes into the tournament. We were already like dark, you know, grayish light. And well, remember we would leave at, I don't know, 5 in the morning. It was pitch dark.
You know how big that waves were that tournament?
I don't. That's why I didn't want to say a
That's the
size.
one where fucking Evan busted his pelvis.
Yeah, he broke his pelvis.
Oh,
that's
came
the
up-
same one where he
Bro,
got-
it was 15-20. It was huge that
It was
year.
humongous.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to say that, because, you know, they're going to think.
I was with Hugh
But it
Grant
was
that year. I was with
huge.
Hugh Grant, he surfs. And he was like, it was fucking firing.
Yeah, it was huge. So, yeah, I mean, a miracle. I mean, we both lived. And so after that, we're like, hey, now he's telling me we might have to spend the night here till they come find us. I'm like, oh my God, that's going to suck. Yeah. So I had to get one up on him. I said, okay, well, if we're going to stay in there and there's no roof, I'm Big Spoon. I'll make that clear, you know. You're not going to be hugging me all night. So, yeah, and then, so basically we're just there. And then, like, he started that fire, so took off her shirt, you know, we dried at least, you know, my shirt and stuff, and that was cool. That helped a lot. So then we start walking. He's like, hey, I'm going to go this way. You just follow this trail and see if we can see anybody. But, dude, it's January, so most of the military is gone.
Yeah.
There's nobody there. There's very few people. I want to say there was like 6 people on the whole island for the military. And so that's where the military or the Navy trains. Mm-hmm. So they make that terrain the way it is, which is pretty bad, you know? Yeah, so they plant these like screwed up little like pines about like 12 inches long that'll just stick you everywhere.
You know what EA told me? It's where they do their last SEAL training or some shit like that. And they make you run up that hill.
It sucks.
With pallets on your back.
So guess what? So I'm doing all that, right? Like I'm like, well, I mean, you know, Larry's doing it like no problem, and I'm like, shit, I'm getting this crap all over me. And then you get into this another section that has like these rocks that are like these river rocks, like big watermelons. So you're twisting your ankle through it and shit. And then I look down like, Larry, what the hell's that? Is that like a trip? So I guess they have these like stupid little dummy bombs and stuff with tripwire. And some of them were still active. And like later on, the Navy person told me, he goes, you know, those things, we get people that really hurt themselves really bad with those things.
Fly up?
Well, I don't know. They explode.
Oh, but
They're dummy ones.
Okay.
They're dummy ones, you know, but
dumb enough to fuck you up.
dumb enough to screw you up, you know?
scared the shit out of you.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm like, holy crap. So now I'm like tippy-toeing around. So, and then after that, then we split up. Oh, take that back. So there he goes, you know what? We might have to stay the night. So like some water bottles and stuff, you know, was up on shore. So we had, for some reason, there was a bag there. So I grabbed a bag with whatever essentials that, you know, floated up to shore. put it on my back and kept walking. Kept walking. I was like, shit. There's nobody here. Mm-hmm. Now Larry's in a different direction. I was like, dude, I might have to start walking back because we're gonna have to spend the night. Well, no later than I don't know. We were walking up. It felt like over an hour that I was walking, and then finally I seen a truck way up top, and it was zigzagging down. Then it was coming down. I was like, please, just come, And then they finally got close to me. Then there was a lady on the passenger side. She opens the window about, quarter of the way. And she goes, can we help you? And I'm like, yeah, my fucking, I'm like yelling, yeah, the boat flipped and my buddy's over there and we almost died. And she turns to the guy. She goes, oh, he speaks English. I'm like, what? I'm like, what the hell? And then they get off and he's like, hey, just hang on a second. And then they called their military police. And then he gets there and then he goes, hey, can you turn around? He puts handcuffs on me. I'm like,
Brown. Believe that.
And I'm like, oh, what's going on? And we just flipped the boat and this and that. And he's like, just want to make sure you're not a Mexican drug runner, because
shit.
Mexican guy with a bag on his hand, you know what I mean? It could be a pong. It could be a pong or whatever. Yeah, so after a few minutes, he goes, I'm sorry. They took really good care of me after that. Like, here's a blanket, just had to make sure, no civilians are, allowed on the island at all, So, anyway, thank God they found us, brought us back, and then their little fire department, they kind of drove down there and kind of looked around to see what, they could pick up, of our belongings. And I think they only came back with one rod. And then he did mention, he goes, hey, but we seen your calico bass swimming back and forth with the cold balls. Just on shoreline, still there. Yeah. And then, And then, he gave me, I think it was a 790H Phoenix. That was the only thing that survived that trip.
That's the second 798 Phoenix. We just had this conversation. Best fish
had
rod
that for
ever.
a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gave it to Graham, right?
Yeah, I gave it to Graham to fish swim baits. I'm like, you know what? It's time to let this one go, man. I can't be looking at this rod anymore. So that, let me see. So that, and then so we get, we're there in their little base or whatever, and then there's, so civilians aren't allowed. And I'm like, do you mind if I go to the restroom real quick? Either to pee or cry or whatever. And he's like, yeah. He goes, let me just get somebody to go in with you. I'm like, wait, what? So literally, they follow you to everywhere you go. There's got to be somebody escorting you. And then he's like, hey, do you want to take a little tour? And I'm like, man, I don't want nothing. I just want to be left alone. And he's like, and then Larry goes, oh, come on. And I'm like, all right, fine. So they had a little, because, they do their training and stuff. And I guess when they finish or whatever, they want to buy this, T-shirts that I survived San Clemente Island, But so I bought a few, one for me and one for Larry, because we really did survive it. And then I didn't know they took us down below like a bunker. And they have an underground bowling alley. And they have a pretty cool bar, too.
No way.
Yeah, it's pretty cool there, actually.
That's
it's
the
real.
first thing he told me when he came back to California.
Bar open?
Yeah,
Did you get a beer?
I did.
And hold
I
on,
did.
Larry wasn't drinking at the time.
Larry
had
wasn't
one, too.
drinking, and he was drinking too. Larry don't drink.
Yeah.
And he was like, fuck this.
Yeah. So that, I don't think I left anything out, but that pretty much.
Is the boat still there, though? Isn't it?
The boat is
It's
still
on
there.
Google Earth right now.
You can go to
Shows
Google
you.
Earth and you see it. They told us they were gonna just go ahead and just target practice and blow it up or something, but it's still there. You can see it on Google Earth. I took a trip last year and
I've seen it with my eyes.
drove right by it, and I know it's further down, because that's what happened was when we were sitting, we had to we tried to dodge the wave. We went into the eye of the storm.
It's in that lane. That lane. It's in that zone, that lane inside
Yeah.
you like to fish. That
Yeah.
skinny zone.